Media Blasters returns with another Kamen Rider Blu-ray, this being the first and the next.
It's morphin' time!
Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome to my review of the Media Blasters Kamen Rider Dyad collection of Kamen Rider The First and Kamen Rider The Next. This is a weird title. I don't like the name Kamen Rider Dyad. I feel like duology was right there because we had Media Blasters Kamen Rider Trilogy, but yes, they went with Dyad. Fancy name. But this is a collection of the two modern reboot films based on the Showa-era Kamen Riders. We had Kamen Rider The First, very much based on the original Kamen Rider series, and Kamen Rider The Next, which was a sequel that also introduced Kamen Rider V3. These were released in the mid-2000s as an anniversary piece, and it's nice to get a new release of them, because this isn't the first time Media Blasters has released Kamen Rider The First. So if you're excited to see the rest of what is inside this set, be sure to hit the like button now so it helps support the video and the channel. Hit subscribe and the notification bell so you don't miss out on future Kamen Rider Blu-rays and other videos. But let's dive into this because it's a little complicated in true Media Blasters fashion. So back before the modern renaissance of Kamen Rider in North America and getting multiple releases and stuff, there was a Media Blasters DVD of Masked Rider The First. It was the second home video release of Kamen Rider in North America after Generishi Kaito's Kamen Rider V3 DVD set. And it was, yes, the Kamen Rider The First movie was marked as Masked Rider The First because that was the branding that Toei was going with at the time. It was done under Media Blasters Tokyo Shock label. It was a pretty simple release, but honestly pretty good. It's got the movie on it, it's got English subtitles, it's got the theatrical trailer, TV spot, and the making of feature from the Japanese release, which was pretty good. So it was a pretty nice release for the time. You can see we have a winter 2006 catalog for what Media Blasters was putting out at the time, which is kind of a fun thing to sort of go back and look at how many things Media Blasters used to release back in the mid-2000s. And they've downsized the company a whole lot since then because of a lot of business things that have happened. But it was kind of fun. But anyways, that is the basics there. But basically, they've relicensed Kamen Rider The First, and now here we have the new release. So this version of the set, very similar to how they did the Kamen Rider Trilogy, this is the Media Blaster Store Limited Edition. There is only 1,000 copies of this in existence. I have copy number 505. This contains a, fancy packaging. It's got a booklet. We do not know yet what the standard release version of this will be. The standard release version of the Kamen Rider Trilogy didn't have all the same bonus features as the limited, but, we'll see what the standard is when they get that out. This was a little delayed. This was supposed to be back in September. Didn't ship till December. But you can see the spine. You got Kamen Rider Dyad Legacy Elite Edition. So we got Kamen Rider The First. I do like this dual cover, first and the next. Instead of trying to, collage them together, I think doing that worked out pretty good. But I'm also a big fan of the inner cover, which is the Kamen Rider Dyad. And you can see Kamen Rider The First, Kamen Rider The Next. So you can see you got Kamen Rider 1 and then V3. I think that looks really nice. And then you can see on the back we've got kind of like a description, and it does say North American premiere for the Next because that was never released over here. And this is the extended version. There was two versions of the film for the Next. It only contains the extended version, but I don't think we need the original theatrical. I think the extended version is perfectly fine. Now it does have bonus features, which of course we'll cover when we look at the discs themselves. But it is 2 discs. This was actually really nice because these films are like full-length features. They're not like the Kamen Rider Trilogy where they were shorter films. These two are full-length films, and they each have their own disc. So we got Kamen Rider Disc 1 is the first, and Disc 2 is the next. I think those look really nice. We also get a booklet, which has a thing called Rebirth of the First, an analysis of enduring themes of Kamen Rider by Andres Perez. And Andres Perez put out this whole essay. So it's kind of neat. It's funny, it talks about Rebirth of the First. That's a shot from the Next. That's also a shot from the Next. But it's kind of like discussing why they made these movies and how they ultimately went. Also, revel in the production still quality of Kamen Rider The Next, where you can see the colors. We'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, you can kind of see, nice, that's still from the first, that's from the next, that's from the first, that's from the next, that's from the first. That's one of my favorite scenes in the first, actually. I love the way that scene was lit. I believe that's from the first as well, and that's also from the first. So it's a pretty lengthy thing. That's a nice shot from the next. It's a pretty lengthy essay. That's also from the next. So it's got a lot of cool info in there, which I think is neat. Also, wraparound cover. That's why Kamen Rider 2 is on the front of the booklet, because Kamen Rider 1 is right next to him. So pretty nice. Now let's, of course, get into the discs of it. Let's take a look at the films themselves on the discs, and of course, all of those bonus features, to see what the release is like in practical form. All right, here we have disc 1, which is Kamen Rider The First. We have the movie. We have a nice commentary track by Matt Burkett, Andres Perez, and Josh Saito. And then we have, of course, Chapter Select and our extras. For our extras, we've got Kamen Rider World. So this is the short that features Kamen Rider Zeto and Jay teaming up that was included on the limited edition for the Kamen Rider trilogy, and then it wasn't included on the standard release, and so Media Blasters decided to include it on this limited edition in case you missed the previous one. Weird, but it's one way to do it, I guess. All right, next up we have Kamen Writer, An Evening with Toshiki Inoue, who was the writer on these films. Writer Power, the action of Makoto Yokoyama, who was the action director. And both of these were produced by Media Blasters for this release, so they are brand new interviews, which is nice to see. We also have Making of the First. This was a release with the Japanese home video release of the films. And this is an hour-long making of behind-the-scenes feature, fully subtitled. We also have the Kamen Rider The First production presentation, which is essentially the press conference announcing the movie and getting the marketing going. Then we have Kamen Rider The First at the Tokyo International Film Festival, which is another feature about the film festival debut of Kamen Rider The First and features a bunch of stuff from that event. Then, of course, we have the theatrical trailer and the TV spot for the movie. So it's a pretty good loaded set of bonus features for Kamen Rider The First. Adding to this, of course, we have Japanese audio in 2.0 and 5.1, and then subtitles can be turned on or off. So the picture quality is pretty alright. It's the Toei HD Master, it's the best they had to work with, and the movie itself has a bit of a color palette that's kind of darker, and it's harder to see things like these shadowy shots. You're going to see a lot more like noise, but it's kind of intentional, I think, in a lot of ways, but it is the best source that is available. It's not the most crystal clear presentation, but it's the nicest that is available. This is just how Toei has mastered the movie, and a lot of the directing choices with the over-heavy film grain and the more washed-out colors is intentional direction choices. Subtitles are presented in bright, bold yellow with a nice backing on it. That is the same thing for the bonus features for the different movies. Both movies have the same subtitle fonting that is consistent with Media Blasters' other releases, and it works quite well. Alright, so for Kamen Rider The Next, we have, of course, the movie. We have the movie with a commentary with the same people that did the commentary for the first. And then we have the same audio options. And then for extras, we have Making of the Next, which is a feature showing the behind the scenes of the film. This came from the Japanese release, but is now fully subtitled. And this one's an hour and 30 minutes, which is actually pretty cool, and honestly maybe more impressive than the movie itself. We also have Kamen Rider The Next CG, which is specifically talking to the VFX team in charge of the CG for Kamen Rider The Next. Then we get the Kamen Rider The Next Platinum Smile music video, which is tied into the story of the film itself, which is kind of a neat inclusion. And then the press conference, which is announcing the movie, just like the press conference of the first movie. So the movie itself looks as good as it's going to look because there's two things going on here. First of all, it is the Toei HD Master, and it's the best looks. The second thing is that it's very intentionally all gray, black, and brown. This movie itself, the color palette that was chosen is very washed out on all the colors. It's why when I was talking about the promotional stills in the booklet, I was like, look at all this color, because you don't see it in the movie itself. It's actually one of my complaints with the film is that I sometimes lose track of where Kamen Rider 1 and 2 is compared to the Shocker Riders, because everything's so washed out, you can't even tell that that's Kamen Rider 2 and that's a Shocker Rider, because the colors aren't really doing anything. I do also want to note there is a song in this movie that is used as part of the plot line, and it's all tied into the story, and they don't subtitle the song. Don't know if that's a licensing thing or not. So now we come to the point in the video where I have to talk about the problems with the set, because there's one minor issue that then becomes a whole bigger issue for the company. Yeah, okay, so let's get this started. There is a translation error on the set. as seen in this screenshot, which was done by HenshinWolf89 on the Kamen Rider subreddit, you can see here, they left translation notes in. So Hongo should just be saying yeah, but it's written, Hongo says yeah in response, which is, from the script, and then the yeah part is the part that's supposed to go into the subtitle track, not the rest of this. So, of course, I wanted to check it out for myself. If you're wondering where this famous Hongo says yeah in response is located, it is at 117.49. It's actually worse than the way that people presented it originally. Because the thing is, when we were talking about the screenshot, it just seemed like, oh yeah, instead of Hongo saying yeah in response, it actually doesn't include Ichimonji's line prior to this. So the Ikuzo Hongo is not included, and then Hongo says yeah in response is. That's a 2-line mess up, not a 1. But I don't even mind this as much as I do the PR scandal we got going on. Now, in the grand scheme of things, this isn't that big of a deal. It's not like the audio desync on Shin Kamen Rider Prologue from the Trilogy set, which was fixed because that was actually a Toei error. This was essentially Media Blasters, their own screw-up. Now, this screenshot was posted on Twitter, and Media Blasters did provide the oddly snarky response, yeah, the third-person translation. Here's the thing. I'm not that mad about one line in 2 movies being screwed up in a translation thing and having translation notes in. It happens. QC missed it, whatever, even though the set was delayed for multiple months to check QC, and honestly should have not gotten missed, but whatever. I guess we could move on from that. But the usual response that you would get out of a company that has proper public relations department and acts professional is, oh, we're really sorry we missed that in the QC checks. We apologize for that. Unfortunately, we can't go spending the amount of money to replace all these discs over one mistranslated line. But instead, they're just going to go with the third-person translation. That's not how you respond as a professional company with a single line on Twitter that seems like a joke to dismiss the problem entirely. If that was it, that would be one thing. Now, somebody pointed out that the disc, this is on Twitter as well, someone also posted saying that the back of the slipcase was upside down. I see that as a stylistic choice. I don't necessarily think that's an issue, but that's me. But this was relatively brought up. No pop-up menus. That is true. There is no pop-up menus on this release. That's something I don't usually check for because usually pop-up menus exist, and if they don't, it's not that big a deal. Also, the Mill Creek Ultraman sets don't have pop-up menus. That's a choice. You don't have to put it in. And then it was mentioned that there was a subtitle mistake. Now, Media Blaster's response, know that his creative choice is a flip and there is no info on it. It is just cool artwork. The actual Blu-ray inside is traditional way to get the info back. Yeah, that was talking about the slipcover. That's a really long way to say, yeah, we did that on purpose. And honestly, I don't have a problem with it. That's cool. And then they said, yeah, no pop-up menus, pretty sure Trilogy never did either. Let's check their work here. Let's go check the Trilogy disc. Okay, so I got the Kamen Rider Trilogy disc in. Let's see if there is a pop-up menu, and I hit the pop-up menu button, and it doesn't seem to be one. So they were right that there wasn't a pop-up menu. Not having the definite article in no pop-up menu is funny, though. It took me all of 20 seconds to check it. Okay, so on that note, they just completely ignored the translation issue. Now, here's the thing. We had the same issue sort of with the Kamen Rider Trilogy, where there was people noticing that there was audio desync on the Shin Kamen Rider Prologue, and Media Blasters at first was like, you're all crazy, there's no audio desync, before going into, oh, yeah, you're actually right, there is an audio desync, and that was an issue from what Toei sent us, and here's your replacement discs. This is like a continuing issue with Media Blasters. They have been around a long time. They have been doing releases for an extensive period of time, and I know they've downsized a lot recently. They've gone through some hardships, which I'm sympathetic to, and they are a very small company now, much smaller than they were back when they were doing Voltron and Gao Gaigar. Like, come on, guys. We did this with the first one. How are you not better at this? How are you ostensibly worse at handling public relations? Adding to this, they recently announced they were getting the Garo license by showing, here's one of our upcoming releases, and it was the Kiba movie, which is a spin-off of the first Garo series. It makes no sense on its own, before later clarifying that they got a bunch of Garo movies without the shows that they go with. sort of bringing into question, okay, that's nice, but like, why aren't you like that? And then also just having a bunch of tweets that made it seem like they had no idea what they licensed for Garo, leaving us all insanely confused, and also them saying, we just inked the deal, these won't be coming out for a while, and I'm like, why are you telling this? I know that Media Blasters is a small company that's barely got a budget anymore, but please spend some money on a public relations person. It is absolutely infuriating as a customer to be getting responses from a company like this, and it's absolutely infuriating as someone that reviews and covers these sets to be getting responses like this. I can't tell you if they're going to replace this disc because of the translation issue. I can't tell you why the translation issue happened. All I got is a snarky response and an ignore on the issue at all, which is not how you handle it. Like, just apologize. Like, nobody's gonna be that mad at you if you just apologize for it. Coming back with like a snappy, like, oh, this is actually intentional, you all just don't get it, is not the energy or the attitude to be having about something that is a limited edition product you had people pay for in advance and then delay by several months for quality control checking, and then showing that quality control checking did not work out the way it was intended. So with all that said, should you get this release? The eternal question of, should I buy this? And my answer is, I don't know. The problem with a set like this is that, from a personal standpoint, I don't actually really like these movies. I thought the first was okay. I don't like the next. I'm not a fan of either movie. I picked this up because, okay, to be totally honest, to do this video, because it's kind of like my thing. It's like one of my staples on the channel is reviewing the Tokusatsu Blu-rays, and I have an ongoing collection of all the Kamen Rider stuff. But I wasn't particularly excited for either of these because I love my Showa Kamen Rider, and I don't totally love how it was reinterpreted here, and I don't really have plans to rewatch these movies anytime soon. This is not a set I was looking forward to. And honestly, though, that being said, if you are somebody that likes these movies and you want a Blu-ray release of it, this is nice. For all it's worth, ignoring that one mistranslated line, it's a pretty solid release. It's packed with bonus features, new and old. It's got all the material on there that you think you could get. They threw in a Kamen Rider short from a completely unrelated trilogy. It's good. I mean, if you're going to get it, though, like, probably wait for the standard. So just after I finished rendering this video, Media Blasters announced the standard edition for the Kamen Rider Dyad collection. It looks to have the bonus features for the behind-the-scenes material and the commentaries and all of that, which is great. Doesn't seem to include the Kamen Rider World short, which makes some sense based on how they've done these limited editions. And then it also has a different cover, and it's scheduled to come out in either January or February. They said they're trying to get it out quick because the limited edition that I reviewed has sold out completely at this point. So there's your quick update that I threw in, and hopefully nothing else happens because I'm going to render this thing and get it uploaded so you actually will get to see this. Because at this point, I don't know if they're going to fix that translation line for the standard, and I don't feel like delaying this video long enough to find out. This is not necessarily my highest recommendation. And it's mostly because I just don't like the movies that much on a personal standpoint. But if you enjoy them, you'll enjoy this release. There's a lot of great behind-the-scenes stuff. The commentaries are good. The interviews are solid. It's a good release for that. It just depends if you like the material. Also, if you're put off by the way Media Blasters handles controversy, I understand that as well. Hopefully they handle Garo a bit better because I really love Garo. I really, really love Garo. And yeah. I just want them to do better in communication. Like, someone, if you're not going to hire a public relations person, someone take media training. Please. Please. Because this is getting rough out here. So, naturally, we do want to take a look at how this looks with other Kamen Rider releases. Of course, Media Blaster's other Kamen Rider Blu-ray is the one that it matches to the best. I say the best because this has a Media Blasters logo, this doesn't, but you can see that the font styling for Kamen Rider is pretty consistent. It's pretty consistent on the top there. On this side of the spine, it's very consistent. That's actually much closer. So putting these next to each other on a shelf, they look pretty good. I mean, they have similar styling because it's from the same company. Now, of course, we will want to put this with the rest of the Kamen Rider collection. So where does this go? Okay, we got our 4 Shout Factory releases there. And we've got our 5 current Discotek releases here. Discotek is doing more like Kamen Rider Stronger. So with the Kamen Rider Trilogy, that came out after Black RX, so we can put that there, like that. And then Kamen Rider The First came out at the same time as Kamen Rider Kabuto, which we don't have, but that was Kabuto's after Ryuki, so we can put that there. So if you're doing your chronological release order, that's what it looks like, which is fine. For me, I'm actually going to do this. And the reason I'm going to do this is because Kamen Rider Shinzeto and J are reusing themes of the Showa era, and then the Kamen Rider First and Next are remakes of Showa era shows. So these kind of fit as like a epilogue to the Showa era, and then these can be Heisei and Reiwa. That's how I'm going to do it, also because that way it looks a little bit cleaner than sticking the first over here. But whichever way you want to do it, it's up to you. This is how I'm going to have them on my shelf. Also, shout, please do Kamen Rider, the original Kamen Rider. It's that gap. The gap is really bugging me the closer we're getting to this filled out. And I'm like, where's the first show? Anyways, there we go on the shelf display. Now, as a side note, I've been having to hold this thing up the whole time because the slipcover, as much as I've tried to level it out, it's just got that slight slant to it, which is fine because you stick it on a shelf, it's not going to be a problem. But for me, trying to like balance it up for the review, I've just had to hold it the whole time. Anyways, that does it for this video. I hope I covered everything. If there's any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comments. I will respond if there is stuff that I missed. If it's stuff that's in the video, I may respond with, go check the video. But there is, of course, this release. It's nice to finally see this come to fruition. Will Media Blasters continue to do any further Kamen Rider? We don't know for sure. If you want to keep up with future videos on the channel, hit subscribe and the notification bell so you don't miss out. Hit the like button while you're down there if you haven't already. If you want to continue the conversation, you can join our Discord server in the link below. And if you want to get perks like early access to videos, you can join as a channel member and get those cool perks, plus special shoutouts like these. Special shout out to all our channel members, including Captain Tier, Spendash54, Masterman95, Forever1000, Super Shaddix Boom, Veloquence, Rogue Leader 2448, Mr. Smelly Potato, Remote Archive, Rivers, Common Pikachu, Jamie's World, Showbiz NCNA, Ek M, Basil Expedition, Blade, Kyle Birdwell, Alice James, Doge9789, Fernando Pereira, Levante Jackson, Adrian Montanez, Gobro Fam, C. Hoffman, B. Tub, Killer Knock Tokusatsu, Amananiqua Do Tempo, Justin Giovanni, and Sonic Doctor. Thank you all for your support of this channel, members and viewers alike. If you so wish, you can find me on social media on Blue Sky and Letterboxd at Soundout12. You can also find my awesome graphic designer on social media and Discord at DarkClaw643. And you can find Hero Club at HeroClub.com for Tokusatsu interviews and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying, let's see what comes next for the world of Media Blasters and their Toku.